Buying a laptop can be stressful. There's so many different options, so many specs to look at, and now Apple has changed the game by introducing Apple Silicon-based Macs. So in this video, I'm here to tell you the top reasons why I think the M1 MacBook Air is one of the best buys out there. Let's get into the video to find out more. Before we begin, if you like tech videos, make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe. Okay, so I've had the M1 based MacBook Air just a bit over 2 months now. If you want to check out my full review, I'll have it linked at the end of this video. But for now, let's get into the top 5 reasons why I think this is one of the best laptops you can buy at almost any price point. And that brings us into the first reason. This Mac is not super expensive. In fact, if you're looking to buy a laptop and you want to buy a Mac, this is the cheapest MacBook you can get. The MacBook Air M1 starts at $999 for regular folks, and if you're a student, it's even cheaper at $899 starting. At that price point, you're getting 256 gigs of solid state storage, which is extremely fast. You're also getting 8 gigs of RAM and the very capable Apple Silicon based M1 chip. And that's probably one of the best reasons to pick up this Mac. At the $1,000 price point, it's difficult to find a laptop that can kind of do it all while maintaining good quality. Something has to give. Either they give up performance for good build quality, or they give up build quality for performance, and you end up with a laptop that's somewhat powerful, but has a very plastic feel to it. The keyboard isn't that great, or the screen isn't that great. But the M1 based MacBook Air doesn't really have any of those issues. And that brings us right into the second best reason why you want to pick up the M1 MacBook Air. The build quality on the M1 Mac punches significantly above its weight class. Which $1,000 machine will have a full-on unibody aluminum design that looks this sleek and is finished to such precision? You won't really find an alternative to this level of design at that price point. You'll most likely have to pay a little bit more or even significantly more to get an equivalent Windows laptop with this design. And even on the Mac side of things, there's not really anything cheaper that has this level of quality. You're really getting the best of Apple's design language in this thin and light device. And that brings us to the next point, the keyboard, trackpad, and display. At this price point, one of the first things that most manufacturers sacrifice on is either the display, the keyboard, or the trackpad. But with Apple, they didn't really do that. You're getting a Retina display with P3 color gamut. It's one of the best looking displays out there, and nothing at this price point can really compete against it. It's really bright at 400 nits, it's HDR capable, and it looks phenomenal. On top of that, you're getting the Magic Keyboard and the Force Touch trackpad. The keycaps feel very sturdy, the key presses are satisfyingly clicky, and it harkens back to the MacBooks of the 2015 era and before, where Apple was renowned for their keyboards. And they're bringing back that design, but in a more modern way, in a more sleek way, and in a smaller package. And I think it's a great option moving forward. Whenever you're not using a Mac, the one thing that you'll always miss out on is the Force Touch trackpad. The sensitivity on this trackpad is extremely precise. Not only that, you can click anywhere on the trackpad and it feels like you're clicking it properly. Like, you don't think that it matters, but it makes a huge difference when you're using the trackpad regularly for a long period of time, and it's just a lot more comfortable to use. It's also the perfect size for a laptop trackpad. Palm rejection is also great when you're typing on the keyboard. You're not going to accidentally move your mouse by having your palm sitting on the trackpad. Okay, so now that we've talked about the price, design, keyboard, trackpad, and display, the next most important thing that you're probably thinking about is the performance of this Mac. This Mac is running the M1 Apple Silicon chip. This is Apple's new entry in the CPU market, and it's one of the fastest chips you're going to get on a device of this size. With class-leading performance per watt, this means that this chip is actually able to perform a lot better than some of the higher-end chips that are in laptops while maintaining low temperatures, which means it'll run cool, but it'll also be really fast. If you're using your Mac with Apple software, the MacBook Air M1 runs flawlessly. The operating system feels extremely snappy. Your computer wakes up in a couple of seconds, it feels almost instantaneous, and if you have multiple windows or multiple apps open, the speed of the computer doesn't really slow down. Especially if you're using Apple's native software, then the compatibility is all there and it works flawlessly. If you're running third-party software, then you might run into some compatibility issues, though that's getting less and less likely the longer these Macs have been out. If the program you're running has been updated for Apple Silicon, then it'll run natively, and in that case, it'll be extremely quick. Even if it doesn't, and it used to run on the older Macs, it'll likely run using the Apple Rosetta 2 conversion layer, which means the software will be emulated to run on the new chip with about a 20 to 30% performance hit. You'll rarely notice this because compared to the older Intel MacBook Air or even some of the Intel MacBook Pros, the new Mac with Apple Silicon is so many times faster that performance hit is not even noticeable, because even after the performance hit, often these programs will run faster than if you ran it on Intel-based Macs that came before it. The M1-based MacBook Air feels snappier than my Razer Blade 15, which costs 3 times as much, has a 45-watt 6-core Intel CPU, and a heavy-duty beefy GPU inside for day-to-day applications like running Chrome, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, what have you. This Mac definitely performs significantly better than its weight class if you are using video editing or if you're doing any kind of photo editing. It can even edit 4K videos relatively easily as long as you're not doing something too complex with it. So for most people's purposes, this Mac will work perfectly fine. The final reason I want to talk about today is the battery life. The M1 MacBook Air, because it's running Apple Silicon, is extremely efficient and it sips on power. You can get 15, 16, sometimes 17, 18 hours of battery life if you push it. Personally, I basically charge this laptop twice a week, and that's enough for me to get pretty much all of my work done for the entire week that I want to on this laptop. And the interesting part about this battery life is that if you're not running an Apple Silicon based Macs, there's no laptops that can really get you this kind of battery life without sacrificing either performance or size. The battery on the MacBook Air isn't that large, but because the chip is so efficient, it's able to give you this much battery life. The M1 MacBook Air is in the unique position right now in the market where it's a relatively affordable device. It looks great, has a great screen, keyboard, trackpad, it feels great on the hand, it has amazing performance and great battery life. And there's not really anything in the market that fills all of these checkboxes in one device. If you're in the market for a laptop right now and you're able to buy a device that runs Mac, then the M1 based MacBook Air is for you. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about the M1 MacBook Air, whether you're picking one up or if you're still undecided. Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and remember to always keep learning. Bye-bye.